The Port of Montreal is a cruise and transshipment port. It is located on the St. Lawrence River in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The port operates as an international container port. The historic center known as Old Montreal View Montreal, which provides a window into the city's rich history with its cobblestone streets and architectural styles ranging from the 16th century to the present. 1642 to 1930, Montreal is founded by Paul Chomedy de Maisonneuve. The Lachine Rapids prevented him from sailing further west, so he likely anchored at what is today the Old Port. The fur trade expands and the first port facilities are built. The Old Port site is home to a vast historical wealth, deriving from the technological, industrial, port, and maritime spheres. The history of the Old Port of Montreal, an important Canadian heritage site, is of interest to all Canadians, as well as to the many tourists who visit. The Canada Lands Company Limited has 3 subsidiaries, including the Old Port of Montreal Corporation, Inc., an agent Crown Corporation which owns and operates the Old Port of Montreal, and includes the Montreal Science Center.
Is it worth it? Oh yeah, it's worth it. If you're strong enough.
Unbelievable facts. The Old Port was redeveloped in the early 1990s under the direction of architects Aurel Cardinal and Peter Rose. It is today a recreational and historical area and draws 6 million tourists annually. For more than 25 years, the Old Port of Montreal has offered a variety of participatory, cultural, and leisure activities, as well as opportunities for scientific exploration at the Montreal Science Center. They also have bikes to ride, but you have to rent it. Inspired by major European cities, quadricycles or multi-seater bikes allow you to visit the Old Port of Montreal in a fun way. Perfect for family fun. Our 3 or 6-seater quadricycles will allow you to explore the promenade and the docks of the Old Port at your own pace. They also have vending machines for beverages, just in case you got thirsty. Unbelievable facts. The Cirque du Soleil, founded in 1984. The Cirque du Soleil has multiple shows on tour around the globe, plus several productions in Las Vegas. The Cirque also presents a show under the Big Top in the Old Port of Montreal each spring and summer.
Wow! The land of make-believe!
Unbelievable facts! The distinct charm of this area can be chalked up to its charismatic architecture, ease of walkability, and the diversity of bars, restaurants, museums, and boutiques that line its streets in all directions. Any given walk throughout will help remind you that Montreal once stood as the economic heart of C. They also have a lineup of souvenir shops if you want some item as remembrance coming in Montreal. Old Montreal is quieter than downtown, and has pretty buildings, and is romantic, and has easy access to the Old Port and the river for after-dinner strolls and such. Downtown is just like any other downtown. Traffic, noise, crowds, lights, excitement, etc. And now, we are approaching at the most tourist attraction spot here at the Old Port. And to mention, they also have boats that could be rented, especially if you want some family water activities, or maybe for a date.
Wow!
This is the worst!
But before that, Old Port do offer a zipline ride. Treat yourself to an amazing flight aboard our 1,200 feet zipline. And again, not for free. Price, yes, it is very pricey, $25 plus taxes for adults for a 30-sec ride.
I'm panicking.
I know.
I'm panicking quite severely. Andrew, I'm panicking. What is happening right now?
You're only human.
It's not
Unbelievable facts. And at last, we reach the La Grande Roue de Montreal. La Grande Roue de Montreal is a Ferris wheel built at the Old Port of Montreal, Quebec, Canada for the festivities for the 375th anniversary of the city, open to the public since the 1st of September 2017. It is the tallest Ferris wheel in Canada. It is owned by Sandibe Global BV. You can ride La Grande Roue de Montreal 365 days a year, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. But check their website or social media to see if they are open due to weather conditions. Rest assured, the gondolas are climate controlled and protect from the elements. The ride lasts for approximately 20 minutes. Unbelievable facts. And before you can enter in the Ferris wheel, an employee worker will scan your ticket stub. The Ferris wheel is entirely enclosed. Reminded me more of a ski gondola with seats. There are seats for 6 in each car. Your ride consists of 3 slow turns with stops near the top. There is plenty of time to enjoy the view and to take some great pictures. And now the Ferris wheel starts going up, and let the fun begin. La Grande Roue de Montreal, the tallest observation wheel in Canada, allows you to see the city and its surroundings from 60 meters in the air, the equivalent of a 20-story building. A Ferris wheel, also called a giant wheel or an observation wheel, is an amusement ride consisting of a rotating upright wheel with multiple passenger carrying components, commonly referred to as passenger cars, cabins, tubs, gondolas, capsules, or pods attached to the rim in such a way that as the wheel turns, they are kept upright, usually by gravity. Some of the largest modern Ferris wheels have cars mounted on the outside of the rim, with electric motors to independently rotate each car. To keep it upright, these cars are often referred to as capsules or pods. The original Ferris wheel was designed and constructed by George Washington Gale Ferris Jr. as a landmark for the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. Although much smaller wooden wheels of similar idea predate Ferris's wheel. Dating perhaps to the 1500s, the generic term Ferris wheel, now used in American English for all such structures, has become the most common type of amusement ride at state fairs in the United States. From this side of the Ferris wheel, you can see the Champlain Bridge over the St. Lawrence River in Quebec, between Nuns Island and the borough of Verdun in Montreal, and the suburban city of Brossard on the south shore. A second connected bridge links Nuns Island to the main island of Montreal, and you can also see the busy light from downtown Montreal. And now I bring you the Jacques Cartier Bridge. The bridge crosses St. Helens Island in the center of the river, where off-ramps allow access to the Parc Jean-Drapeau and La Ronde amusement park. And the third bridge, Victoria Bridge, is a bridge over the St. Lawrence River linking Montreal, Quebec, to the south shore city of St. Lambert. The ride is almost done, and it's time to go out and feel free to do this.
I got a lump in my throat. I got a lump in my throat. I got a lump in my throat.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Before I forget to mention, the construction cost of La Grande Roue de Montreal, $28 million, was paid by private investors. And it is operated by La Grande Roue de Montreal Incorporated. Now, I feel dizzy about the price of the construction. On the first weekend in August, the Old Port becomes the venue to host the food trucks. A food truck is a mobile restaurant on wheels. A few years back, food trucks were mostly found on city streets. But now these portable kitchens are rolling into catering events, corporate parties, weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, and even in your backyard. A good place to eat. What with those wooden bench tables? Now this is the Old Montreal. Old Montreal covers an area of about 1 square kilometer, or 0.4 square mile. The historical district is located between the St. Lawrence River and nearby downtown Montreal. It is easily accessible, and once there, the best way to discover its charms is undoubtedly on foot. Busking in Montreal is common. A busker, or as they are more commonly known, street performers entertain crowds with their musical, unusual and comedic acts for tips in public areas. Larger cities such as Vancouver and Montreal require busking permits and even auditions for certain locations. Small municipalities such as Stratford, Ontario, do not require permits but still have guidelines about noise levels, merchandise sales, and panhandling. To be a busker in Montreal, you need to obtain a permit. They have recently gotten rid of the audition system, so you can now apply all year long. The license itself costs $160 to renew, and an extra $50 just to open a file if you are new. If you are a tourist in Montreal, better use their metro railway system. More convenient and avoid the heavy traffic and hard to find parking space. Unbelievable facts. Like buses, trains are swept and cleaned nightly. Helpers also pull the train through a high-pressure wash, refill windshield wiper fluid, make sure the boxes that hold sand are full, and get trains in position for their next pull-out.